Hi, I'm Elia Einhorn, and you're listening to the Talkhouse Music Podcast. The Talkhouse team set up camp at Pitchfork Music Festival in Chicago earlier this summer and recorded some fantastic artist-on-artist talks. Last episode, you heard a chat between soul singer BJ the Chicago Kid and rapper Mick Jenkins. Today, we present another talk between Chicago artists, this time taking in the city's young indie rock scene. Spencer Tweedy, of the bands Tweedy and The Blisters, chatted with Julian Ehrlich and Max Kakasik of the band Whitney. The world first met Spencer Tweedy when he was a little boy, drumming on his lap with his hands and asking his dad, Wilco frontman Jeff Tweedy, what song he was tapping out in a scene from the 2002 Wilco documentary I Am Trying to Break Your Heart. At about the same time, Spencer formed the band The Blisters with some school friends. From a very early age, Spencer focused on mastering the drums, and in 2014, he and his father released a double album together under the name Tweedy and toured the world behind it. The Blisters have now been around for 14 years and released their second record, Cured, earlier this month. When the Talkhouse asked Spencer if he'd like to speak with anyone at Pitchfork Fest this year, he told us that his favorite Chicago band was Whitney, and that though he'd met guitarist Max Kakasik quickly, he would love the chance for a real sit-down. Whitney were formed from the ashes of the Chicago indie rock act, Smith Westerns. Julian Ehrlich had also drummed with psych rockers Unknown Mortal Orchestra, but he teamed with Max to create an entirely different sound from their previous groups. Drawing on Americana and classic rock, Whitney were buzzing from their inception, and their debut album, Light Upon the Lake, released this June, received huge critical praise. Spencer, Max, and Julian sat down backstage at the fest and talked about Chicago's young rock scene, Wilco's legendary studio The Loft feeling like the Matrix, embarrassing moments with Wayne Coyne and Snoop Dogg, and, in an exciting twist, potentially collaborating. Take a listen.
Dang, what's up, man?
Hey. Well, I'm Spencer Tweedy, and you guys are Whitney.
Yeah, I'm Julian.
Yeah, and this is Max.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I finally got to see you guys. Yesterday was the first time I ever saw you play.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and it was great. And I've met Max before, but I've never met Julian, so pleased to meet you. I don't know if you want necessarily people to know this, but we went to the same high school.
Oh, yeah, you went to Northside.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Dang. Was Mr. Belcaster there?
No, he left like the year I started, I think.
He was the best one. That's a shame. Miss Park? Miss Park, though?
Miss Park? I didn't have her either.
Dang, we should stop talking about teachers. There's no's are way off.
I'm sorry. I know it's
That's all good.
Nobody wants to remember high school.
Wait, so you're out of high school now?
Yeah. I graduated 2 years ago, so I'm a little bit younger than you guys, but
Only by a few years.
By a few
How old are you?
years.
22? 21?
20.
Yeah, that's why I have a bottle of water up here, and you guys some classic Goose Island.
Like 5 beers deep. 24 on this end,
20.
and Max is 20,
8?
456. Yeah.
I'm 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
What's it called? I went to, what's the Wilco studio called? Foxtrot, right?
Oh, the Loft?
Yeah, the
Wilco
Loft. Yeah.
When were you up there?
I actually just ran to Martin Courtney out here.
Yeah.
When Real Estate was recording there 2 years ago for their last record, Atlas. I'm good buddies with Matt. He used to play guitar. I think he recently left. But he wanted to borrow. I have this ARP string ensemble synth that they wanted to use, so I brought it over there. And the first thing I thought when I went there was like, it's when you go into the Matrix, like when you go into the Matrix, when Neo goes into the Matrix and he like asks for guns and like these warehouses of guns just go past him. It's like gear, it's like guitars and synths. It's like never ending rows of things.
Yeah, that's pretty much accurate.
We thought about like kind of on the sly asking whether or not we could like spend time in that studio for our next record.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, yeah, it's awesome that you're asking that while we're doing this. The answer, well, absolutely. In fact, I mean, my dad loves your guys' record, and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, that place is beautiful. There's like a fire escape where everyone goes to smoke cigarettes. Good vibes.
Thanks. Yeah, everybody, it's fun, but also a little bit embarrassing when other people come and see it for the first time, because I think my dad and we are all proud of that space and how much it's grown since Wilco started, but it's also like, I don't know, you never know if somebody's going to think you're a glutton and an asshole for having all that much stuff.
No way.
I mean, they deserve it. You deserve it.
Thanks.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, we would love to have you around sometime. Where did you guys, I actually know the answer to this question. You guys made your last record with Jonathan Rado, right?
Yeah.
Parts of it?
We wrote for like a year straight just in our apartment in Chicago. And like, I know you've heard the demos.
Mm-hmm.
Every demo that we were making, we like actually intended for it to just be released to the public until we actually finished the last one. And it was like, dang, we should just go back and like make these, I guess, a little bit more like palatable to more people, you know, so we can play them on bigger stages or whatever.
Palatable,
blah, blah, blah.
like arrangement wise or sonically?
No, the arrangements were exactly the same.
Right, that's what I've kind of gathered. Yeah.
We came to Rado's with like every single part of every song written. It was just that we were using such like bunk gear in our apartment.
Can you tell me about it? Because
I haven't heard the term bunk in a while.
That's good. What did you guys do those demos with?
Oh man,
we just had an SM57 and we had a lunchbox with like an EQ and a compressor in it and a
just
tape
wasn't-
machine.
yeah.
But the one thing that I do like to talk about is that No Woman and Light Upon the Lake, those two songs off the album were recorded in our apartment. And
Using the bunk gear.
Those
It was
really
all-
were the ones that end up being used in the final record, which is like fun, very special.
So you guys almost caught like a really bad case of demoitis.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Just
definitely.
release. Yeah.
It was like, yeah. I think we realized that the like 75% of the way through the record, it was just like, oh man, we should probably go and clean these up or something. But
honestly, I think
the songs were fully formed. You know?
No Matter Where We Go is the one that like really changed.
Rado, when we like started, that was like the second song that we like brought to Rado at his studio, and he just like sat down, and I think we had like probably the bass and drums recorded and just kind of playing on loop in his studio, and he just sat down and started playing this crazy like ragtime old-timey piano, because you've heard the demo, you know how much it shifted, and it was like that was literally just him sitting down and then me and Max sitting behind him like laughing. Like we were in awe. It was like, how is this dude doing something that's like tickling us this much?
Yeah.
And then we just realized that we had to take that and build the rest of the song off of it. So we added like cowbell. And it's a little cheesy, but it suits the song better. It's like the song is like a very just like true sentiment, and I think what he added to it, it just like completely completed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Word. Wait, so you were drumming in Tweedy and stuff like that. What are you like up to now? I don't even.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Well, we haven't really been touring since we did a trip in early spring this year. We went to like down to Australia and Japan, which was crazy.
Damn,
I'd
that
never
sounds,
been. Yeah.
We're gonna do
is
that
Australia cool?
later. But
You are?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Cool.
But
Yeah,
it is a good vibe.
Australia is great. I had been to New Zealand before, which is just like the sweetest people on earth, I think, are in New Zealand. And Japan is like another universe. But yeah, we did that trip, and we're not really playing shows right now because Wilco's so busy this year. But the thing is, with having that space at the loft is, my dad can pretty much just go up and be creative whenever he wants, and sometimes that means inviting Wilco guys over, and sometimes that just means we hang out and work on stuff. So I think hopefully we'll have another thing like that out sometime.
Do you have keys to the space?
I do, yeah.
Do you just like have like friends up there and drink beers sometimes? Never.
I don't know. It's a little. I think that truly everybody would be comfortable with that, but it's just a little too scary.
It's a little touchy.
Totally.
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to screw with that.
I do trust my friends. I've got some good friends. Yeah, but that's been the main thing. And then I went to school this past year, and I'll be going back to school this fall. In Wisconsin, this little school in Appleton. It's called Lawrence University.
Oh, I've heard Lawrence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Word.
And just studying philosophy up there.
Oh, dang.
Liberal arts stuff.
That's a cool major.
Do you write music as well? Like
Yeah.
songs?
Yeah, I do. I kind of do what you guys did, demo style, just like a lunchbox set up in my basement at home, or when I'm at school. I have a friend who has this crazy, massive church space that he lets me use a room of to bring all my gear, and I work on this stuff by myself there. But I have to admit, it's really hard to keep the steam going when you're working by yourself, and you have nobody else to deliver for,
Well, it's like motivating as well as like someone to tell you that you suck.
Right.
Like someone needs to tell you that you have bad ideas. It's really important.
You need a foil,
Yeah. You were 19 when you guys started touring like a bunch with the Tweedy stuff. How did that hit you?
We played our first show 4 days after I graduated high school. And we had practiced one time with the lineup. So it was I mean, I knew Liam Cunningham, and so I knew him. We went to school together, and I had met Jim and Darren before, our guitar player and our bass player, but never made music together. So it was like pretty terrifying to go out and do a whole run with only one rehearsal under our belt. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, the fourth show was in Austin, and we played Austin City Limits, the TV show.
Oh, the tape one.
The TV show.
The one that actually gets immortalized. And
the one. So like,
sucks.
I'm proud. I'm pretty proud of how we were able to do it, considering how young we were as a band. But when I will look back at that now, I can tell, like, we're rushing so much more all over. I'm rushing all over the place. Yeah. And everything's more fleshed out, but that's the way it goes.
Do you think like Austin City Limits is like the equivalent of like Old Grey Whistle Test?
It's like the only one that's still around.
The only one, exactly.
Like
the
it's same generation.
It's just like.
Yeah, kind of. I'm trying to think of one. I think there's
the
like
American Old Grey Whistle Test.
Yeah.
All that footage is so crazy. The worst one though, Leonard Skinner plays Freebird in front of a Confederate flag. That's so.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh my God.
Have you seen the Edgar Winter one?
No.
That one's not terrible. It's the best.
I think there's a really good Roxy Music one too. That program was really special.
Yeah. So that's like what I want, and I think you guys share that with me, like just like a wistfulness for Old Grey Whistle Test era, when like even the lowest common denominator, just average records or like TV performances sounded like the best thing you ever heard in your life. Yeah. And
now you just get like kind of, man, I can't say bunk again. You just get like festival streams that just like actually sound like paper thin.
Yeah.
And it's like embarrassing.
I mean, I don't want to overly romanticize the past. That's like a really complicated thing, obviously. But yeah, it's like every single studio had a Neumann 67. and I don't know. This might get too nerdy, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that just the players were a little bit more.
I don't know if it's. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure there are better players. Like most musicians were better back then.
I think it's actually like we can't talk about it. Like it's impossible to refine into some sort of like absolute. Like there's no way we're gonna be like
right.
But Old Grey Whistle Test is tight.
Yeah.
And that's all that's important.
Totally. But the playing is a huge difference, and Julian, that's one of the things that makes me love Whitney so much is I really love your drumming, and
Thanks.
That's like I feel like it's closer to that time where it's like you got to hit the drums light, you can't murder the drums. And
I wanted to ask you if I ever want to move to just like full-time frontman. You want to play drums?
Oh, absolutely, dude. I don't know if that's serious, but
it's as serious as it seems right now.
This is the Talkhouse business hour.
Yeah. We're going through a lot of.
I read that we were going to do this interview last night, and then I thought it would probably come to this, so I was gonna just gonna ask you, and have it be documented. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I think the drummer singer thing is like working for us a little bit, and like I don't know if it's like a kitschy way. Or,
would you ever be a drummer singer?
Yeah, I would love to. I've never really sang much live. I don't know.
No, I mean, have you found your voice?
Oh, have I found my voice?
I'm confident that you could.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Like,
well, I'm young, and I think it takes a while. But in my limited experience singing, which is mostly like backup with my dad, when in Tweedy, I do a little bit of vocals, and I feel like I do kind of know what I'm doing and what I want it to sound like, but not quite at the level where I could stand on my own yet. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's good. I mean, like I guess when I was like back in UMO when I was like 19 and like had just started touring, that was like the first time I ever like was a drummer singer at the same time. And that was backup, and then with Smith Westerns it was backup too. So I don't know. It helps to have like the initial thing that like kind of gets you going like baby steps style, and then moving into like the front, actually drumming, being a front man. It's like it's not that big of a step when you think about it.
Like, what other instruments do you play? Other instruments like guitar, piano?
Play guitar and bass. You know, when I'm by myself. But
so you can like write on a guitar and like word. Okay.
But drums are kind of always my main fallback.
For sure.
My main thing. Did you do much singing when you were in UMO?
Yeah, I did. That was like a weird thing because there's a lot of harmonies in those songs that no one even really noticed. And for some reason, I just like watching old live videos of us back then. Like for some reason, my vocals were turned up louder than his, and I like keyed in on that really early. And I was like, "Dang, I like have to sing really well." So I was singing as if I was kind of like a front man,
right?
Even though Ruben does all the music and wrote all the songs, but
I just met him for the first time this summer, and he's a really nice guy.
He's awesome, man.
Yeah.
We did like a month of touring with them in like middle of nowhere. Like we went to like Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Oh my god.
Played Fargo.
We played Fargo, North Dakota.
Nice.
We played like Lincoln, Nebraska, and some crazy zones. But yeah, man, they're the best dudes, and they've grown to a point where like all those shows were sold out. It was like kind of mind blowing, and we gained a lot of new fans. And
it's great.
It was great for us. How many Pitchforks have you been to? Like 12? Like since you were like...
Since I was a toddler.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
When did you watch the documentary?
Oh,
about
dang.
your dad?
That's such an intense question. We can't talk about...
It's interesting though. Like
we should
I'm
not
curious,
talk
like,
about Wilco in this interview though.
It's okay. I love
kind of interested
like
really? when like you saw that and how you felt about it, because I remember when I saw it I was like super moved by it. I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, for the first time.
I liked it, but I haven't listened to Wilco that often. Like I've only really heard Yankee Hotel Foxtrot like once in the car with Jimmy Whispers.
Oh yeah.
Well, he was like, "You have to hear this." Then we had like a 10-hour drive, and I lost my mind. It's an amazing record, but
I don't remember when I saw it for the first time, and I haven't watched it since I was like a really little kid. Sense. But I get asked about it all the time, specifically about the scene where I'm drumming on my lap in the back of the tour bus. I swear, I don't think I've done a single interview in my entire life, which, you know, isn't a billion, but where somebody hasn't asked me, like, I remember you.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, do you remember drumming? Like, which is, I don't mean to sound like I'm annoyed by it. It makes sense. But when I've watched that scene on YouTube, and I have no idea what I was doing on what beat that was, and why I expected my dad to recognize which song it was. It sounds nothing like it.
Damn. It's okay. You can be annoyed by it too.
Yeah,
that's how I know I've grown as a drummer, because I feel like I could pat heavy metal drummer on my lap now, and you'd probably recognize it. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a benchmark.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess something cool to talk about would be like the Chicago music scene at the moment, and how like it's
how do you
certainly like blossoming like more so than I feel like it has in a long time.
Who's your favorite Chicago band right now?
Favorite Chicago band, apart from you guys? I'm not just saying that. I'm not kidding. Well, the Cunningham siblings. I have two of the best bands in the city, absolutely. One of which, Ohm, is playing this weekend at Pitchfork.
Tomorrow, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love Twin Peaks, and they played this weekend too. But yeah, it's like the three Chicago bands that are playing Pitchfork this weekend are my favorites. And Marrow, which is Liam Cunningham's band. I feel like the really crazy thing that's going on in Chicago right now is the hip hop, though. I mean, it's both. It's the rock, it's the indie rock, and the hip hop. And I'm not as clued into hip hop in any way. It's just I just don't know enough. But it's just like insane. I feel like every single week there's a new awesome rapper from our city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lucky X is like my favorite.
Yeah. Mick Jenkins.
Do you know Knee High?
I've heard of them. I haven't checked out their record yet, though.
Damn.
It's good.
You should.
Is it good?
Yeah. I just got their new one. Their like bassist sent it over. It's awesome.
Awesome.
It's coming out on Twin Peaks label to Grand Jury.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also feel like that right now there's this like really specific, perfect time for bands to be here for some reason. I'm not sure what it is. I think
it's that New York isn't
I think that
necessarily popping off or something.
America in general, like North America, like went through a phase of like everything kind of is very cyclical, and it went through a phase where bands weren't that important for a little bit, and now bands are starting to pop up everywhere. More
Guitars
so,
are coming back.
I mean, like not hopefully, but
I don't know if they ever left though.
Right.
You know, like
right.
I don't know.
it just seems like I feel like I'm meeting more and more people who like play guitar and like are in a guitar band.
I don't like thinking about it as any sort of like a weird like conspiracy. Like there's like a cycle or there's like some sort of a, you know, like we'll have our time later. It's like it's like the good music just like always comes up and like pops up to the top. And was there really a slump in guitar music? I mean, like we could be going through one right now and I just don't know it, but like I have
there were like time. I mean, like if you consider like mainstream radio when like Jack White and the Hives and the Vines and the Strokes and all the bands.
Like, that wasn't mainstream radio. It was like alt radio.
No, dude, they were.
When was that on mainstream radio? I guess
all
I just
in the early
listen to
2000s.
mainstream
Mainstream rock radio, but not top 40.
I feel like they were.
I'm thinking top
the Strokes
40.
were top
Maybe.
40, dude. No way.
Were they? I don't know.
What do you guys
dude.
think?
I don't think so.
Really? Am I
They were
completely
never
wrong
top
here?
40, Max.
You think so? All right.
No.
Someone in the room agrees with me.
Dude, top 40 has always been just pop singers.
We're gonna Google this on our iPhones.
I don't
later,
think
but,
top
like,
40.
I'm just thinking rock radio.
Yeah, and if we're talking guitars, top 40 hasn't been guitar based since like 1983.
Well, the crazy, the craziest thing is to look at the country charts. Because that's like the weirdest thing. Because those people are
that's
like
a whole
making
sector.
so much money and like
that's a whole
selling CD. They sell CDs.
Well, they can literally play stadiums. They can be playing a show at like Wrigley Field, and it's a person I've never even heard or read their name.
It's
before.
so weird.
And their fans are also the people that you just like you don't think that, I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't like register. You walk past them on the street and you'd be like, they don't care about my type of music.
The bottom line is we are a absolutely tiny minority in the music world.
Yeah.
You know, guitar or not, if it's indie, and if it's not country, if it's not like on those top 40 stations, we are just a tiny little pocket in Union Park that really don't relate to the rest of the country.
Yeah, I guess me not knowing that the Strokes were not top 40 is a pure definition of not understanding.
They're definitely massive.
What the world is.
They're
fucking.
definitely
massive,
huge.
but as long as I've been, I guess, awake when it comes to music, like guitar has not been on the top 40 unless it's like some like acoustic guitar on like an R&B song. Like that's it.
But I agree with you that it doesn't really matter whether it ever went away or if it's coming back or if it's like the zeitgeist, because it still exists and we can still do it, and hope the whole worry, and I think what's implied when people say like guitar music is making a comeback or something is just like a deep-seated fear that nobody would come to our shows anymore.
Yeah.
Or nobody would.
For real though.
Or that you wouldn't be able to make a living.
Well, honestly, like I play guitar. I'm a huge fan of guitar music, but honestly, like one of the things that I think I'm super impressed by and continue to be like appalled by are like iPhone artists. Like I think Jimmy Whisper started as that, and he's trying to branch out to have more of a full band. But artists like him and Alex
we're helping
Cameron,
him with that as well.
yeah. But like a lot of people who, I guess, like are super, like very good at arranging things and make things on their computers and then play it on an iPhone and sing in front of it. It's kind of like changed, like it becomes performance art. Like I don't know. Last year we played with Jimmy Whispers, and I don't know. It's like a really special experience. Like watch him play Pitchfork off an iPod.
Yeah.
Like just he's like hitting play and singing over, like basically doing karaoke at Pitchfork Music Festival, which is like a great thing.
Yeah. We used, not to bring it back to Tweedy too much, but we used an iPhone recordings on our record, Suki Ray.
Yeah, and I feel like if you talk to a lot of musicians now, they're like, how do you write and how do you store ideas? And like, I use voice memos.
It's all voice memos.
Everyone always talks about voice memos.
Yeah.
And it's just like a function of having a phone on you all the time.
You just walk around the city, like you keep hitting play on a voice memo, trying to come up with like a better idea on top of it.
Like the only opportunity for you to be able to record is on your phone. And that's like an important part of the process now, which is like, yes, it's a shame, but it's also like a necessity. And like, I appreciate that like it's even there.
Yeah. Thank God for the iPhone.
Yeah.
But
what's your most embarrassing interaction with someone at a music festival?
oh my God,
Or just after a show.
Yeah, any time. There you go.
it's like you mean every show? I've put my foot in my mouth like a couple times with, even members of Wilco when I was a little kid. And I remember one time when we were, my family was traveling with them for a little bit. I had one of those dart guns, like a little toy plastic
Nerf gun,
like a Nerf gun, but with the kind with a suction cup on the end.
Yeah, that's definitely Nerf gun.
Yeah,
that's
well, no. The
I know you're
the other
about.
one, it's all plastic, and I shot it at Nels, and he got really upset. It was like it was a learning moment. It was a teachable moment, because then I learned like some people aren't up to play with Nerf guns at every moment.
Do you have a story, Jules?
A foot in my mouth story?
The only time
I have to take
I've embarrassed myself
I feel like
a million times.
You and I might know each other's foot in our mouth stories better than we do ourselves.
I think the worst one I had though was at Sasquatch, and you weren't there. I got
with like Wayne Coyne or something. Yeah, you've told me this story.
We were in Vancouver the night before Sasquatch, and I got chicken shawarma. And the next day we played Sasquatch, and we played like noon or something. And Wayne Coyne, it was Smith Western days, and awesome dude, like obviously inspirational, like great musician. Came, he was like in his suit, like his gray suit. Just like came and said like, good show afterwards, and I was feeling sick from the shawarma. Hadn't really been drinking, hadn't been doing like nothing out of the ordinary, and just like threw up right in front of him, like almost on his shoes, almost on his shoes, like so close. But like I kind of ran away from the conversation while throwing up because I was embarrassed, and I think he was just kind of like, see you later. And I was like running away, throwing up. I ended up having food poisoning and having to sit in the emergency tent of Sasquatch for the whole day and get to see any of the festival.
Oh God!
I think the only maybe competing story that I have was just like meeting Questlove when I was like 19 after our first show in New York, and he was like, "What's up, kid?" Like he had like just watched our show. He's like, "What's up, kid?" And like we like had a handshake moment, and then he was like, you know your breaks, man. Like you know your beats." And I literally just looked at him like I didn't say a word. And then he got awkward immediately and turned, and I was like, oh, hi. When he was just gone already. Also, just remembered that I met Snoop Dogg a few months later because Jake from UMO, his brother owns a production company that like does a bunch of work with Adidas. They were doing a commercial with Snoop Dogg. It was like Snoop Dogg, Damo Genesis. This was 2011, so it's like Damo Genesis, Mike G, a bunch of like Odd Future people. So we were like at this commercial shoot, and me and Jake were sitting there, and Snoop Dogg walked up, and he like shook both our hands. He was like, "What's up?" I didn't say anything, but then Jake, after Snoop Dogg was like, "Hey man," Jake shook his hand and said, "Hey guy," like literally called Snoop Dogg guy. And that was like the worst. That was the biggest train wreck I've ever seen in my life because
God.
I just saw Jake's face like immediately turn red. And yeah, but then we hung out. We like the whole premise of the commercial was that we were like playing music while Snoop Dogg was rapping, and we actually played a song. We just like wrote a song right
Is that
then.
on the internet?
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
It's you would have to dig it up. It's like
Yeah.
Adidas Addy Color 2011 something. It's like the YouTube. That's the YouTube title or something. But like, yeah, we actually like me and Jake just like wrote a song like drum and bass, and Snoop rapped over it. Mike G and Dama Genesis rapped over it, and it was like the craziest day of my life because that was also the 1 year anniversary of me graduating from high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is such a massive moment. Like, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to, in case anybody was wondering, Nels is the sweetest, absolutely nicest human.
Dude,
Yeah,
I've
you didn't wanna incriminate.
actually Smith Westerns did a few dates with Wilco.
Oh, yeah.
And all those guys are
Yeah.
super awesome.
Oh my God, he's so nice.
Yeah. Their like vibe of like practicing before their sets is so I don't know.
It's admirable.
It's hard to make
admirable.
yourself do that. I guess,
Yeah.
Especially if you've been on the road as long as they have, to rehearse that like intricately and like intensely before a show.
No, they really
Much
care.
respect.
They really care, and hopefully, like that comes across.
It does.
But when I was 7 years old, my band, who I actually still play with, called the Blisters. It's my friends from elementary school. When we were 7 years old, that band somehow got a gig in a Quaker oatmeal commercial, directed by Errol Morris.
What?
Who's like, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And they just had they had my drum set on like a huge box of oatmeal, and they had the rest of them like in front. It was in this soundstage in LA. It was the craziest thing I've ever done still. They gave each of us a moment to like talk about why we love oatmeal. and I said, Quaker oatmeal is the breast. And I'm trying to say best, but I accidentally said breast.
no.
And they didn't realize it until the commercial was ready to air. So they had to pay me extra to go into a voiceover studio and say best instead of breast.
Wow.
Dang.
That's my commercial
The
drumming
commercial story.
debacle, yeah.
For
Whitney
real,
and
though, like,
Spencer talk
like real
about
talk.
their child actor
Yeah.
commercial vibes.
Snoop Dogg was also in ours, actually, but I'm just kidding. I'm glad we finally got to meet. I'm glad
Yeah.
I finally got to see you guys play. It was really, really cool. And living in Chicago, I'm sure we'll be around some
Where
more.
can we catch you next, actually?
That band I mentioned with my friends, the one called the Blisters, we're playing at Constellation.
When?
We're playing in August, on August 13th. And then not too many shows. But you guys just played.
Yeah,
so,
we just played.
Yeah.
We're out of town until September, but
Yeah.
dang, hopefully we hook up
Yeah,
in the
for
future.
sure.
Yeah.
I was really glad to meet you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, you as well.
For real.
Peace.
Love you, dog.
Love you too, dog.
I was your friend, and now I'm nothing but a star shank in your side, your side. And when your cups begin to heal,
I'm Elia Einhorn, and you've been listening to Spencer Tweedy and Whitney on the Talkhouse Music Podcast. Subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher for Talkhouse Music Podcast episodes recorded at Pitchfork Music Festival, including next week's talk between Julia Holter and Broken Social Scene's Kevin Drew. A big thank you to Pitchfork for hosting the Talkhouse at the fest. This episode was recorded, edited, and co-produced by Mark Yoshizumi. Till next time.
oh, how are you feeling? It's not so bad anymore. It's not so bad, 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 bad.